Today Dong Fu invites you to listen to the Dhammapada, one of the Dharma of Buddha Shakyamuni, the 55th verse from the Buddhist scriptures on the YouTube channel TN Thai in the USA. Of all the fragrances sandal, tagera, blue lotus, and jasmine, the fragrance of virtue is by far the sweetest. This verse illuminates the incomparable value of virtue. Natural fragrances delight the senses and bring temporary pleasure, but they are limited. Virtue, in contrast, nurtures the mind and heart. Its sweetness surpasses all worldly fragrances. It purifies, inspires, and uplifts both the practitioner and those around them. Virtue is the cultivation of ethical conduct, compassion, patience, generosity, and mindfulness. These qualities form the essence of a heart aligned with Dharma. Like a fragrant flower, the effects of virtue are subtle yet profound, permeating all directions and leaving lasting impressions. The Buddha contrasts natural fragrances with virtue to emphasize depth and enduring significance. Sandal, tagera, blue lotus, and jasmine are pleasing to the nose. The verse encourages reflection on the power of moral and ethical cultivation. Each act of kindness, every word spoken with care, spreading far beyond the immediate moment and touching countless beings. In daily life, virtue manifests through simple actions, offering help without expectation, speaking gently, acting with patience, and practicing generosity all create the fragrance of virtue. Even small, consistent acts accumulate, producing a sweetness that nourishes both self and others. The verse also emphasizes sincerity. True virtue is not performed for recognition or reward. Its sweetness arises naturally from the purity of intention and mindfulness in action. The heart aligned with Dharma radiates this inner fragrance effortlessly, influencing others by example and inspiring ethical conduct in the world. Mahayana teachings highlight the collective impact of virtue. When one person embodies ethical conduct and compassion, the effects extend to families, communities, and societies. Virtuous influence nurtures harmony, trust, and understanding. Like a sweet fragrance, it touches hearts far beyond the immediate environment, creating conditions for collective well-being and awakening. The Buddha's teaching reminds us that virtue is superior to all external pleasures. Sensory enjoyments are fleeting, often dependent on circumstances, and cannot bring lasting satisfaction. In contrast, the cultivation of virtue purifies the mind, strengthens wisdom, and brings enduring joy. Its sweetness is not only moral but spiritual, guiding practitioners toward awakening. Cultivating the fragrance of virtue requires consistent practice. Mindfulness allows one to recognize opportunities for ethical action. Awareness of intention ensures that deeds are sincere. Every act of generosity, patience, honesty, and compassion adds to the invisible garland of merit that surrounds the virtuous practitioner, pervading all directions and inspiring awakening. The verse inspires reflection on impermanence. While flowers fade and perfumes disappear, the merit created by virtuous action continues. Like the fragrance of virtue, its influence is far-reaching and timeless. By committing to ethical and mindful living, we create benefits that endure through life, community, and the spiritual development of all beings. And mindfulness contributes to this enduring fragrance. When cultivated consistently, virtue transforms both the practitioner and the world. In relationships, the sweetness of virtue is evident. Sincere gestures ripple outward, inspiring ethical conduct in others. Virtue touches hearts in ways that material pleasures cannot. Practical cultivation begins with awareness. Acting with intention ensures that every interaction contributes to the fragrance of virtue. Even minor acts, performed with sincerity, strengthen character and create positive influence. Consistency amplifies this effect. A single act of virtue is beneficial, but repeated practice builds an enduring presence. Daily acts of kindness, generosity, and patience accumulate like drops of fragrance, forming a pervasive influence that touches all directions. Over time, the sweetness of virtue becomes natural, effortless, and powerful. The verse highlights the influence of virtue in society. Communities guided by ethical conduct flourish. Honesty, compassion, and fairness cultivate trust and cooperation. Children learn by observing virtuous behavior. Leaders inspire through integrity and example. Virtuous influence spreads like a gentle fragrance, creating harmonious environments and inspiring collective ethical practice. Even in challenging situations, virtue retains its power, responding to criticism with patience, influencing others, and creating conditions for understanding and harmony. Mahayana teachings encourage the cultivation of bodhisattva qualities in this context. Generosity, patience, diligence, compassion, and wisdom are not only personal virtues, but instruments to benefit all beings. Each virtuous act contributes to collective awakening. True virtue does not seek recognition or reward. Its fragrance arises naturally from a pure heart and ethical conduct. The virtuous person radiates goodness without expectation. Their presence, words, and actions inspire others and cultivate mindfulness, ethical awareness, and spiritual aspiration in the world. Daily life is filled with opportunities to express the sweetness of virtue. Offering assistance without expectation, speaking kindly, listening attentively, practicing honesty, and acting with patience are simple yet profound methods. These actions cultivate merit, transform the practitioner, and influence the hearts of others. The Buddha emphasizes that virtue is superior to all external pleasures. Sensory delights are fleeting and dependent on circumstances. They cannot bring lasting satisfaction. Virtue, however, purifies the mind, strengthens wisdom, and brings enduring joy. Its sweetness supports inner peace, awakens understanding, and nurtures ethical behavior in all aspects of life. The Buddha's 55th verse reveals the spiritual depth of virtue. Beyond its external influence, The sweetness of virtue nourishes the mind and heart. Each act of ethical conduct, compassion, and generosity purifies inner tendencies, cultivates clarity, and strengthens wisdom. Virtue becomes both nourishment and guide on the path to awakening. Karma is closely connected to virtuous action. Every sincere deed generates positive energy, planting seeds that will bear fruit in this life and future lives. Acts performed with mindful intention produce merit that supports spiritual growth, reduces suffering, and nurtures wholesome habits. The sweetness of virtue is inseparable from its karmic benefits, reinforcing both personal awakening and the welfare of others. Integrating virtue into daily practice begins with awareness. Mindfulness allows us to observe thoughts, words, and actions. Each moment becomes an opportunity to act ethically and compassionately, responding with kindness, patience, and generosity. Even in small ways, strengthens character and contributes to the invisible garland of virtue that surrounds the practitioner. The ripple effect of virtue influences the collective consciousness. Individuals who embody ethical conduct inspire families, friends, and communities. Virtuous behavior spreads naturally, like a fragrant wind. Communities guided by virtue become harmonious, trustful, and cooperative. Ethical influence, although subtle, shapes social environments and nurtures awakening in countless beings. Virtue also strengthens resilience. By practicing patience, compassion, generosity, patience, diligence, compassion, and wisdom practiced for the benefit of all beings multiply merit and influence. The virtuous practitioner becomes a source of inspiration, guiding others toward awakening. Their fragrance of virtue pervades society, supporting harmony and the collective path to liberation. Even when unseen or unacknowledged, virtuous action retains its power. Recognition is not necessary for the influence of virtue. Like fragrance carried by the wind, its impact extends far beyond immediate perception. The sweetness of virtue touches hearts, nurtures ethical awareness, and supports awakening in ways that transcend ordinary comprehension. Daily life is a field for spiritual cultivation. Every encounter, thought, and decision offers an opportunity to practice virtue. Offering help without expectation, speaking kindly, acting with patience, and practicing honesty all contribute to the accumulation of merit. The sweetness of virtue is experienced internally, purifying the mind, calming the heart, and generating joy that surpasses worldly pleasures. The Buddha teaches that virtue is superior to all external delights. Sensory pleasures are fleeting, dependent on circumstances. Compassionate action in the world. The Buddha's 55th verse teaches us the enduring power of virtue. Like the sweetest fragrance carried by the wind, the impact of ethical conduct, compassion, and mindfulness reaches far beyond immediate perception. Virtue creates lasting effects in the world, in society, and within the practitioner's heart, shaping the path to awakening. The long-term effects of virtue are profound. Each act of kindness, patience, honesty, and generosity plants seeds of merit. These seeds grow over time, producing conditions for happiness, inner peace, and spiritual growth. Like fragrance that lingers after a flower is gone, the results of virtuous action continue to influence life long after the initial deed. Karmic merit is the natural consequence of wholesome actions. Every virtuous act strengthens positive tendencies in the mind, cultivating wisdom, compassion, and resilience. Communities thrive when honesty, fairness, and generosity are cultivated. Virtue spreads like a gentle fragrance, touching hearts, fostering understanding, and nurturing collective well-being. Produces vast merit and transforms countless lives. Each virtuous act contributes to the awakening of self and others, extending the sweetness of virtue across space and time. Internally, virtue purifies the mind and strengthens character. The habitual practice of ethical conduct, mindfulness, and compassion reduces attachment, anger, and ignorance. The heart becomes gentle, the mind clear, and insight deepens. Over time, virtuous living becomes natural, effortless, and transformative. Virtue also enhances resilience in adversity, facing difficulties with patience. This consistent presence of ethical conduct creates harmony in relationships and supports spiritual growth. Daily life is a continual opportunity to cultivate enduring virtue. Small, consistent actions, offering help, speaking gently, sharing resources, acting with honesty, accumulate into a powerful influence. Each moment becomes a chance to spread the sweetness of virtue, nurturing personal awakening and inspiring ethical conduct in others. Communities guided by virtue are harmonious and resilient. Ethical behavior fosters trust and cooperation. The cultivation of bodhisattva qualities amplifies this influence. Generosity, patience, diligence, compassion, and wisdom practiced with intention for the benefit of all beings extend merit far beyond individual action. The sweetness of virtue pervades all directions, touching lives, inspiring awakening. Like fragrance carried by the wind, it reaches far beyond immediate awareness. Virtuous living transforms the practitioner, inspires others, nurtures harmonious societies, and supports the collective journey toward Buddhahood. Ultimately, the long-term impact of virtue is the flowering of awakened character. Through consistent practice, the mind becomes clear, the heart compassionate, and action skillful. The sweetness of virtue pervades life, touches countless beings, and guides all toward awakening. The Buddha's 55th verse concludes by teaching the full integration of virtue into daily life. Just as the sweetest fragrance pervades every direction, the sweetness of virtue spreads through every thought, word, and deed rooted in mindfulness, compassion, and ethical conduct. Each moment of conscious practice contributes to this enduring influence, becomes a chance to act with kindness, patience, honesty, and generosity. Even the smallest acts, performed sincerely, contribute to the garland of virtue that surrounds the practitioner, spreading its fragrance silently yet profoundly. Consistency deepens the effect. Virtue is not occasional but continuous. Daily acts of ethical conduct accumulate, forming a pervasive influence that touches all directions. Simple, repeated gestures, helping, listening, guiding, sharing, become expressions of the sweetness of virtue. Over time, and wisdom are practiced not only for personal growth, but for the benefit of all beings. Each virtuous action contributes to the collective awakening. Speaking kindly, offering assistance without expectation, acting with patience, and practicing honesty nurture both internal growth and external harmony. The sweetness of virtue strengthens relationships, inspires ethical behavior, and encourages awakening in others. The long-term impact of virtue benefits both the personal and collective spheres. Internally, virtue purifies the mind, cultivates clarity, and strengthens resilience. The heart becomes gentle, the mind serene, and wisdom deepens. Externally, virtuous influence inspires others, and encouraging others to follow the path of Dharma. Even when unseen or unacknowledged, virtue retains its power. Recognition is unnecessary for its influence. Like fragrance carried by the wind, the sweetness of virtue spreads silently yet pervasively, touching lives, inspiring goodness, and nurturing collective awakening. The verse teaches that virtue surpasses all worldly pleasures. Sensory delights are fleeting and dependent on circumstances. They cannot bring lasting joy or spiritual clarity. In contrast, virtue cultivates enduring happiness, purifies the mind, strengthens wisdom, and supports awakening. Its sweetness is unmatched, incomparable, and eternal. The Buddha reminds us to dedicate ourselves to cultivating virtue consistently. Every thought, word, and action aligned with mindfulness and compassion strengthens the invisible garland of merit. The fragrance of virtue pervades all directions, influencing hearts, uplifting communities, and guiding beings toward liberation. May we live each day with awareness, intention, and ethical conduct. May our actions reflect patience, generosity, compassion, and wisdom. May the sweetness of our virtue reach far and wide, benefiting ourselves and all beings. May our lives contribute to awakening, harmony, and the ultimate realization of Buddhahood. Thank you for watching my video. Namo Amitabha. I wish to bring this merit towards all disciples and sentient beings, all of whom will attain Buddhahood. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate your time.